Thank you for the warm welcome and good morning, everyone. I see some familiar faces out there and also some new faces, and I'm really looking forward to presenting my topic to you all. My topic is building your development pipeline, so actionable techniques that you can take away for secure and efficient implementations. These are tried and tested by Accutive in all of our projects, and they help us to do our projects on time. We do them to a high degree of accuracy, and obviously also the main thing, to budget, which we're all very generally concerned about. I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes going to learn a little bit about me, a little bit about Accutive, and obviously those actionable techniques that I talked about, and hopefully I'll learn a little bit about you as well. Okay, so a little bit about me. My name is Peter Parker. My parents did love me, okay? This accent is Australian, and you can refer to me as, if this comes up, the Australian Spider-Man. I'm happy for that. Okay. I have over 15 years of FinTech experience. I worked for over 10 years in a Canadian bank, and I actually was involved as a senior PM doing a Transact implementation. So I have a lot of knowledge in this area. I actually worked with Accutive on the client side for 9 years, and then I was lucky enough to be able to join Accutive, which I have. And that's true. I love project management. I love governance, and hopefully you'll see some of that over the next 14 minutes now. Okay, so that's a little bit about me. I'm going to ask a little bit about you now. So I'm going to go through a series of questions, and you guys, in your minds, or if you want to call out, you can, think of this yes or no questions, okay? So here's the first question I have for you when it comes up, is what is your current defect rates when you do projects? Is it above 20%, 30%, 40% or higher? Yes or no, right? You don't have to yell it out. Number two, do you have post-production defects? So when you're launching a product, are you accepting defects that you know about and going into production? Or even worse, are you discovering things after you've gone into production? Okay, yes or no on that one. Next one, do you have I ever had to complete a production rollback? Have you discovered a defect that bad, you're like, oh, we got to roll this back, all right? It's affecting our members. Do your projects extend past deadlines due to defects or regression cycles? Are you late on your projects, essentially? And the next one is your test data anonymized and secure? So in your lower environments, do you have potentially PII data in those environments? So if you answered yes to any of those questions, I'm about to demonstrate some results you can achieve that Accutive has managed to achieve, and also some techniques you can use to either reduce or eliminate those. And these definitely do work. So a little bit of information here. How do we do this? Accutive, we run at 0 to 3%. We've actually launched some projects that had 0 defects when we got to end-to-end testing. Some here are other results we have, and these are real results. So I pulled some of our last 9 projects that we've got. We estimated this at about 16,875 hours of work, right? Afterwards, after we finished the project, we came in just under that. It's about 280 hours under, right? So we came under budget for the projects we estimated. I'm going to go through how we can do that shortly. I grabbed one of those projects. It happened to be a Journey Manager project. It was a five sprint project. And we looked at the test cases we ran. So end-to-end testing. This isn't us testing. This is our clients testing. We did 737 test cases. 717 were successful. We only had 20 defects out of those test cases due to the processes that we put in place before end-to-end testing. Defect ratio, 2.7. So obviously that's our target goal, okay? I went back and looked at those nine projects, those 9 engagements we had, and said, how many post-production defects did we have? Because that's the true test. We had 6. That was over a period of 12 months. So these processes work. They really do. Okay, so we learned a little bit about me, learned a little bit about what's the results we can achieve, learn a little bit about yourself and some of the processes you're having. How did Accutive get here? Just quickly, 2009 was founded, based out of Orange County, California. 2016 partnered with Avoca, and 2020 partnered with Temenos. We have a long history of development. Our development teams, QAs and BAs, are all senior BAs, senior QAs, senior developers, senior PMs. We try to get those people with that experience, which is what you will want as well. Okay, so I've got 5 steps I'm going to go through and then give you 4 things to take away. So if you can't remember the 5, remember the 4. But the 4 are easy, all right? And they're the ones you write down. Okay, so step 1, how do we achieve this? When I talked about estimations, we said, okay, we have all those hours we estimated. We call this being accurate, okay? And you'll understand the second part here. So Our development team, our architects, we do pre-scoping. We work with you and understand how many development hours we have to do. So let's say there's 10 tasks. We know it's 500 hours of work, 200 hours of work. We know that because we have the experience. We then have set ratios for our QA and BA teams. And depending on the complexity of the project, the complexity of that development, those ratios can change slightly. We then have project managers where we work with you. So we say, how many weeks of discovery do you want to do? 2 weeks, 3 weeks? How many weeks of end-to-end testing? 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever we work with you on. How many weeks of UAT do you want to do? We build all that out, we review it with our team and our SMEs, and then we review it with you and say, does this fit your model? Is this what you're doing? Do you have the resources and teams to support it? We then finalize that estimate, and we're going to kind of go to our second phase here. We call this enhanced accuracy. So we've already got those estimates where we're pretty sure, we're 90% sure of them. We then go into discovery. The key part of discovery is the requirements analysis. Making sure your developers, your QAs, BAs, and most importantly, your product owners sign off and understand those requirements. Matching your business requirements with your technical requirements and everybody on that team understanding them. What this does is when you get into your sprints, it minimizes requirements changes. If your BAs and QAs know it, they can talk to the developers. They can make those changes and sometimes not even have any problems with them. It allows for better test planning and design. Having your QAs there who understand your business objectives, they can write better test cases, more comprehensive test cases. This then allows the project manager to do more realistic planning. We say, look, we know this product. We know you've got less defects. You don't need 5 weeks of testing. You need 2 weeks of testing or 3 weeks of testing. Once we've got to that, just in case there's been something misaligned, we'll adjust those sprint plans, we adjust the product backlogs, and we adjust the project plans at that point. So that's step one, getting it accurate, getting us started. Step two, we're an agile shop. We're a proponent of agile. We believe it works really well. One of the key things we have here is a high QA to dev ratio. It's 2 to 1, so 2 developers, 1 tester. What this does is give you enhanced testing coverage. It enables your testers to test more thoroughly in those sprint phases before you get to end-to-end. You're testing your requirements. We also strongly encourage that our clients test at the end of each sprint. They're not doing end-to-end testing. This is testing those individual requirements to make sure that we've identified exactly what you're trying to do from your business and technical requirements. At the end of the sprint cycles, we always recommend doing end-to-end testing where you're testing full functionality. And this is where we get that 3% or less ratio. All right? So if you're at 20% or higher, we can get down there just by following some of these techniques. We always suggest doing UAT testing. So that's your end users, your business users coming in and testing it. That's kind of like the final test to make sure that what the business and technical requirements that you've built out, the end users aren't saying, this isn't fit, this isn't quite working for us. And obviously then production support. When things do come up, production support shouldn't be being fixed in production. It should be replicated in a lower environment, retested, and then promulgated to your production environment. So you're not adding on top of already issues that you have. Okay, this one, step 3, is a little bit harder to achieve. Zero defect mentality. This is one that myself, as the VP of PS, I push my team hard. I push my developers hard to have that pride in your work that you don't want defects. Same with the BAs. Understand those business and those technical requirements so there is no defects. So you're working with developers on that. Every issue that comes up, we document. We document those issues and we document the fix. So if it ever comes up again, we have a library of these already there. Obviously, continuous improvement. We have lessons learned during the projects and also after the projects. So if there's anything missed, and they're all documented. So the team is continuously learning and continuing pushing to get that defect ratio down. I love that little symbol, by the way. Should have put a spider on there. Okay, step 4. I talked about having secure data, right? So PII data. We actually recommend using scrubbed production data in your lower environments, but it has to be scrubbed and masked. You have to be secure. What this does, and the reason we recommend it, is because it assists to reduce unknown impacts. Sometimes your lower environments aren't quite the same as your prod. There might be a slight difference in data, the data fields, different structures. So this stops any unknowns coming up. It provides reliable data for testing. It means you can pull reporting on it. There's many things you can do when you do migrations by using that data, but it has to be safe. So by making sure that it's masked, and that's changing Pete Parker to hopefully John Smith. I'd love to be John Smith. Then the data is secure, compliant, and obviously all your risk officers are happy. Okay? So that's 4-step, last step, and then I'll give you the 4 to take away. So step 5, continuous integration, continuous development pipeline, CI/CD. All right. I've just taken some key things that we do here. So establishing that SDLC framework, software development lifecycle framework, establishing that is key. Having that governance, me being a project manager, love governance, obviously establish these things. Having a version control. So if there is a defect, you can roll it back, you can fix it, and then promulgate it forward. Environment structure is key. You have to have the right environment to be able to go through dev, test, staging, and development. You want to make sure that, if we're testing as a developer, then your end-to-end testing is in a different environment. That way you can push those defects back and then roll them through that process. Having the right environments, which most of you will like, will enable you to do parallel development. So you can get your enhancements, the new initiatives you want, out to market faster, which I think everyone is trying to do. We're trying to get that speed to market. So having these five processes I've gone through will obviously help you achieve those kind of objectives that we've looked at. Okay. I'm not sure how I'm going for time. Hopefully I'm good. Oh, actually I'm doing all right. So the 5 steps I went through: estimation and discovery, okay, being accurate and then enhancing that accuracy. Really making sure that every member of your team understand the business and technical requirements. When you get into doing development enhanced testing, you can never test too much, right? But making sure your testers know those business and technical requirements is key, right? You get much better test cases, which you can also use for regression testing as well. The zero defect mentality: challenge your teams. Challenge your teams on the project. Challenge myself to do better. Really say, I want that 0. I want that 1%. Really challenge them, and when they do it, also encourage them, motivate them. Having secure, realistic data, make sure it's secure. You don't want any breaches in your lower environments. Obviously, sometimes we have nearshore, offshore, onshore, all those different ones. And people obviously work remote, they work in the office. So keep those lower environments secure. You never know where clients' data is or members' data is, so we want to make that. And last one, establish your CI/CD pipeline. Okay, that's the 5 steps that we use. What can you guys take away? So if I said to write anything down, or if you haven't taken pictures of this, the 4 things you should, 4 you should take away. Is the requirement ready for development? Right, this is key. This is something that we practice a lot at Accutive. Is it ready? So make sure your BA, devs, and product owners are reviewing and sign off on it. Number 1, if there was the one thing that will reduce, let's say you had 20%, you just dropped your defect ratio by half by doing that. The second one, look at your dev to QA ratio. If you don't have testers, if you're not doing thorough testing, increase that. Look at those ratios, look at your test cases. Do you even do regression testing? These are the things you should be assessing. So if you do these 2, I'd say you're going to drop your defect rate by probably 60 or 70% quite easily. Number 3, try to establish that zero defect mentality. Right? Really push your teams to do this. Because I'm a PM, or I have a PM heart, I should say, adherence to PM principles, governance is key. Right? Keep the governance there. Have reports that has this data for you so you can keep using it. You should have status reports. You should have testing reports that have those things. And number 4, secure your data in your lower environments. Make sure you're not at risk. Protect your teams. So that's the 4 items. I really thank you guys for listening to me today. As per normal, I'm 1 minute under because I'm efficient. 57 seconds. But please, if you have any questions, please come see me and the team. We're at booth S2. It's Accutive, and I really thank you for your time today.